The Disney Fantasy is sailing from the UK for the first time in the summer of 2025. Is a Disney cruise in the UK really worth it? And what do you need to know as a first time or returning cruiser about the Disney Fantasy Summer 2025 itineraries and whether you should book? In this video, we're going to talk about the itineraries, pricing options, ways you can save money, what's included, and ultimately whether it's worth it. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Rhiannon Morgan. Everyone calls me Rhi. Welcome to the channel, where you will find all things Disney Cruise Line, Disney parks, Disney planning, Disney packing, plus some more magical adventures coming your way soon. So Disney Cruise Line have sailed from the UK before with both their Disney Magic and Disney Dream ships. We sailed on the Magic back in 2021 during the crazy COVID times, and we sailed on the Disney Dream in the summers of 2023 and 2024. And all of those vlog series can be found here on this channel if you want to go back and share all of the magic with us. We also sailed on the Disney Wish last year in 2024, so we do have that comparison between the UK and the American sailings. There are differences and pros and cons for both, and we're going to talk about some of those now. So obviously, as a UK guest, the main attraction to sailing on the Fantasy from the UK is it's a no-fly holiday, especially if you've got kids, very small children. You don't have to deal with airports. The luggage limitations aren't as strict as if you were flying. You don't need to worry about weights and things. And there is a massive cost saving of just driving to Southampton, probably staying one night before you get on the ship, compared to getting to an airport, flying all the way to America, which is a massive chunk of change if you've got a large family like me and we're traveling with either 3 or 4 children when we fly. So although the cruises themselves are by no means cheap when you are sailing with Disney Cruise Line, there is a significant saving on flights, at least when you're sailing from the UK. And like I said, they are not cheap, but they are not necessarily bad value. When we get into all of the things that are included with the Disney Fantasy sailings, you'll see what I mean. Now, whether you're a first-time cruiser or a seasoned Disney cruiser, the very easiest way to plan your Disney cruise is using my magical cruise planner. This plan will take you through every step from picking your itinerary, to paying for your cruise, to picking your activities, not missing any of the essential dates, to make sure that you maximize everything for your cruise, from payments to bookings, to making sure you've packed everything you need, and even planning your cruise day by day. You can grab your copy in digital, printable version to fill out on a tablet, or print out and use as many times as you want for your own use, or a book version by visiting my magical planner store now. I also have the magical kids version, which takes out all of the boring booking stuff and is full of loads of activities to help your kids plan and get excited for their cruise, keep them busy during embarkation or waiting for characters, and record all of their magical memories too. So the Disney Fantasy is actually the sister ship to the Disney Dream, meaning structurally both ships are almost identical, although there are differences between the Dream and the Fantasy. If you've seen the Disney Dream vlog series where you were sailing along with us, you'll be quite familiar with the Disney Dream by now. So stepping foot on the Fantasy, it will feel really familiar because the layout is the same. Both the Dream and the Fantasy feature the water ride, the Aqueduct, which is an amazing water slide around the ships. Like all Disney Cruise Line ships, the Fantasy will have the kids clubs from It's a Small World nursery, which is for guests up to age 3, and there is an upcharge for that, but the rest of the kids clubs are included in your cruise ticket. So the Oceaneers Club is for kids age 3 to 10, and the Oceaneers clubs on board the Disney Cruise Line are truly amazing spaces. Not like kids clubs you'll find anywhere else on the planet, and are just totally wonderful and immersive Disney experiences that your children will be desperate to go and explore. There are open houses that you can make the most of and go in there with your children before they're dropped off, and there is loads of security to make sure that your children are super safe and you're the only one that's going to be able to pick them up. This is the first video in a bit of a mini-series explaining all things Disney Cruise Line, so make sure to subscribe with bell notifications on if you're interested in hearing more about Disney Cruise Line. I say this because one of the videos I'm planning to do is all about a deep dive on the kids clubs on the Disney Cruise Line. But let me know in the comments if you have any specific questions about the kids club or anything Disney Cruise Line for that matter. Let me know if you've sailed before or if it's your first time you're looking to sail, and I'll endeavour to answer as many questions as I can in upcoming videos that will be coming your way soon. So the other kids clubs include Edge, which previously was located in the funnel on both the Dream and the Fantasy. I know that the Kids Club Edge, which is for the tween age group from 10 to 14, was relocated during the Dream dry dock, and I'm assuming they're going to do the same on the Fantasy and relocate Edge to make that space in the funnel for a large suite, which will obviously be a very beautiful place to stay and a bit of a cash generator for Disney Cruise Line. Then they've got Vibe for kids age 14 to 17. We went into Vibe on the Dream during the open house in this amazing space with an outdoor pool. So the Fantasy will benefit from that too. My understanding is that when Edge is moved, it will split that space with Edge and may have some access to their outdoor pool space too. So we're gonna have to watch this space to find out. Let me know if you've sailed on the Dream since the Kids Club was moved and Edge was moved down to the Vibe area, and how you found the new space. Now let's take a quick look at the Disney Fantasy itineraries for summer 2025 before we move on to features of the ship, rotational dining, and what's included inside of your cruise. Editing Ree here. Just as I finished editing this video, Disney Cruise Line announced that the Disney Dream is going to be returning to Europe for 2026 itineraries. So for the rest of this video, I am just talking about the Disney Fantasy, but keep in mind that a lot of this will also apply to the Disney Dream, which is coming for 2026. So for future videos, while I'm filming, we will discuss UK cruises for both the Fantasy in 2025 and the Dream in 2026, but I kind of just wanted to add that in at this stage just to kind of keep you aware that the Dream is coming back next year. Make sure you are subscribed with bell notifications on, because I've got lots more Disney Cruise specific tips videos, and very specifically Disney Cruise in Europe tips videos coming your way. So if you're interested in booking either the Fantasy or the Dream or any Disney cruise for that matter, I know you're going to love those videos and they're going to be super helpful for planning your cruise. Okay, back to the video. The Disney Fantasy will be doing 3, 4 and 5 night cruises to Belgium, France and Spain, sailing from Southampton, as well as a 7-night Western European cruise stopping at Spain and France, a 7-night British Isles cruise stopping at various points around the UK, a 7-night Northern European cruise to Belgium, Amsterdam, Sweden and Norway, as well as 7 and 8-night Norwegian fjords cruises. When booking your dates, obviously you need to look at things like availability, if term time is an issue and your children will need to be off school in order to sail, whether you're looking to book anything from a 3-night sailing up to an 8-night sailing. I get asked a lot, what would you recommend for families for first-time cruises? I know a lot of people worry about seasickness and things. Personally, we've had almost no experience with seasickness. The one time one member of our party felt under the weather was actually coming out of the Florida Straits, where it was a little bit bumpy. But at that time, we were dining way in the aft of the ship, where you feel a lot more movement. And honestly, I just think at the time, Zara, who's our youngest, was just so tired. We'd just come off the back of 7 magical nights in Walt Disney World, but we were all absolutely exhausted. So I wonder how much of an impact that had on her feeling a little under the weather that night. But other than that, we haven't, touch wood, experienced any seasickness at all on Disney cruises. We've always had things like anti-sickness bands. They're available just in case we need them. Disney Cruise Line will provide things like anti-sickness tablets in the medical centre if that's something you require, or you could take your own. But I know a lot of people worry as first-time cruisers, will they experience this seasickness? Should they go for a shorter cruise? But honestly, the only drawback of the longer cruises is that they cost more. And if you have got a large family, then that will cost you more money. But if you have the funds to do it, then absolutely go for sailings for more nights if you can manage it. Because I promise you, once you set foot on that ship, you are not going to want to get off. And this comes with a bit of a warning. Disney cruising is addictive, and you may think that you'll just do it once as this once in a lifetime thing, but you're going to want to do it over and over once you've been. Trust me. So take a look at the itineraries that are available, see which ports seem appealing to you, but ultimately a large consideration is just going to be which dates suit you and how many nights you can afford to stay on the ship. So let's take a brief look at what's included in your cruise. Now, obviously dependent on your sailing and the exact itinerary of what will happen on the cruise and which shows will happen when and things, you won't find out until you actually board the ship. I'm sure this is done so Disney Cruise Line don't get upset guests expecting a certain thing on a certain night. And then if changes are made to the itinerary, then people are going to be unhappy. So I'm going to share with you what generally happens with shows and things. But like I said, you'll find out the exact details when you board the ship. So the shows available on the Disney Fantasy are Disney's Believe, which we've also seen on the Dream, A beautiful show where the dad doesn't really believe and his daughter wants him to believe, and then a whole bunch of Disney characters, including the genie from Aladdin, come along and help him believe. There are so many really unique characters in that show, and it's one not to be missed. It is Broadway, West End level all the way, and yet each show is just 1 hour long, so it's a really good length for young kids to stay engaged, enjoy the show, but then not get too fidgety. The next show is Aladdin, which we also saw on the Disney Wish, because that's the other ship that has that show, and that show is absolutely stunning. Again, the genies featured heavily in this one. They put the Aladdin show on the last night of the Wish cruise, so I'm assuming they'll do that on the last night for the Fantasy as well, because it had lots of like in jokes about chicken tenders and the aqua duck, or it was the aqua mouse on the Wish, that wouldn't really have made sense if you're a first time cruiser on the first night. So either my prediction is they will put that show on the last night, or they'll move those in jokes to a different show. Then the other show, which we've never seen before on Disney Cruise Line, is Frozen, which can also be seen on the Disney Wonder, which is another ship that we've not yet sailed on. There is generally on a Disney cruise a pirate night. And I say generally because not all sailings get a pirate night. We didn't have a pirate night on the Magic, but that was largely because of COVID and they couldn't have people gathering together. But we have had Pirate Night on all the other sailings that we've done. Pirate Night is an amazing experience where you don't have to, but so many guests dress up. Often you get given pirate bandanas in your room, although we didn't get them on the Wish, so it's not a guarantee. There's generally a pirate deck party, and sometimes there's fireworks at sea. So we had fireworks on the Dream in 2023. We had fireworks on the Wish. There were no fireworks on the Spanish cruise that we went on in 2024. And I think that's something to do with European fireworks at sea regulations, I think, as opposed to something Disney Cruise Line withdrew. But it's something that you need to check if there are going to be fireworks at sea at your particular sailing, and that is something that's going to be determined by Disney Cruise Line, dependent on the local regulations of where they're sailing for that cruise. All of these shows are included in the price of your cruise, plus all of your rotational dining. Rotational dining is where you dine at a different restaurant each night. The same server team follow you from restaurant to restaurant. They really get to know you, get to know your party. And the server teams we've had every single time on the Disney cruise have taken such amazing care of us. They really have been next level. The food is exceptional and is all included. There is an upcharge for alcoholic drinks and certain other non-alcoholic beverages such as mocktails. All of the deck food is included in your cruise, plus all of the soft drinks at soft drink stations. However, if you purchase a drink at a bar anywhere, even if it is something you could technically get at a self-service drink station, you will be charged for it at the bar. All of your room service food is included in your cruise, including both breakfast and other foods such as pizza and things that you can phone guest services and they'll bring to you. Now, tipping is an essential part of Disney cruising. I know some people get really upset that it should just be included, but let's face it, it isn't included. It is something that we do just have to pay for. Tipping is something that you can add on individually when you're dealing with just a cast member on a one-off basis, like purchasing a drink or they're bringing you room service. There is a set tipping structure for your stateroom hosts, which take amazing care of your stateroom and clean it multiple times a day, transform the bunks, make beautiful towel animals, and just take the best care of you ever. Honestly, it's one of my very favorite things about Disney cruising. The room is just suddenly transformed and it looks so beautiful, and someone tidied up, and it wasn't me. The other people are expected to tip through the tipping structured system, other than your stateroom host, would be your head dining room server, your head server, and your assistant server, which are your dining team that take care of you through your rotational dining each night. I promise you, you're going to want to tip these people because they're going to take such amazing care of you. But let me know if you want to see a separate video all about tipping on Disney Cruise Line, how it works, and tips for tipping. So rotational dining takes you through the 3 dining rooms on the Disney Cruise Line. You can choose early or later dining. The restaurants on board are Animator's Palette, just like the Dream, Enchanted Garden, also like the Dream, and in a slight difference to the Dream, there is Royal Court on the Disney Fantasy, which is very similar to Royal Palace on the Disney Dream. They just changed the name a bit on that one for some reason. You choose early or later dining at the point of booking your cruise, and you find out which is your first dining rotation when you get on board and you download the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. And then that Navigator app will tell you where you're eating each night after that. Other things included on your Disney cruise will be use of the pools, use of the slide, including the very fun aqueduct, unlimited soft serve, and character meets, including the Royal Gathering, which is bookable but is included in your cruise. There are adult-only areas on the Disney Fantasy, which are perfect for if your children are desperate to go to the kids club and you want a bit of quiet time, including the Quiet Cove, Senses Spa, and adult-exclusive dining at Paolo and Remy. There are lots of upcharge things that you can go for on the Disney Fantasy and any other cruise for that matter, including specialty alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks and coffees, treatments in Senses Spa, or the upcharged adult-only dining in Remy or Paolo. You can also take your kids on a trip to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for a magical makeover, which is also an upcharge. Onboard Wi-Fi to access the outside world is extra, but you can access the ship's Wi-Fi to message other members of your party or use the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, and that's included. There'll be a free bus to get you from the ship to the local port adventure area if you're docked in more of an industrial area that's not right by the stuff you need to be seeing, but actual excursions or official port adventures will be at an upcharge. So while this is a bit of an overview video on all the things that you can expect on the Disney Fantasy, fear not, I have deep dive videos on all of these topics coming for you very soon. Is a cruise on the Fantasy going to be right for you? This is probably a question you've got if you're a first-time cruiser. Well, if you want to try Disney cruising and you don't want to have to fly all the way to America, this is the perfect opportunity. It's so much easier than navigating airports, especially if you have really young children and prams and things. It's a great way to experience the magic of Disney closer to home. Of course, the downside, the weather over this side of the pond is a little less predictable. And while we had some nice days on our UK sailings, we also had some cooler weather too. Another thing that's worth considering is that when we sailed on the Wish, even though the ship was almost at capacity, the same way it was almost at capacity when we sailed on the Dream from the UK, the Disney Wish cruise felt less busy. The American sailings definitely seem to have fewer queues. I don't know if there's something about us Brits that just love queuing, but it definitely felt like on the American cruises, if there was a show starting at 6, people kind of just showed up at 6 and were very chilled about it. Whereas us Brits were very much like, the show starts at 6, we must arrive there many hours before, which kind of causes everyone to panic and queue. So just to warn you, if you are considering a UK sailing, it's likely to feel busier than an American sailing, even if the ship has the same amount of people on board. So while I have got more in-depth videos coming up for you, let's just summarize a few key planning tips right here, right now. If you're thinking about sailing, book as early as possible to secure the best stateroom, the best availability for added extras, such as the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique or dining reservations in Paolo or Remy or Port Adventures. Remember that once you reserve your stateroom, you have 3 days.
3 days. Got that? 3 days.
To pay your deposit and secure your stateroom. Then the full balance is due 90 days before sailing, but check Disney Cruise Line's terms and conditions when you're booking for the most up-to-date information. And while I have got a good number of Disney Cruise Line packing videos, it is worth remembering if you are packing for a UK sailing, then you're going to need to pack for a variety of weather options, including things for hopefully lots of sun that you'll get on your cruises, as well as wetter and cooler weather as well, depending on where you're going and what time of year you're going and what the wild British weather decides to do that day. Now, the next question is, as you're booking your cruise, how do you know which stateroom to pick? There are so many different options on all different decks and they're all different prices. How do you know how to pick the best stateroom for your family and your budget, saving the most money, but also maximizing your experience on the cruise? Click on the video on screen now and I will share exactly how to pick the very best stateroom for your Disney cruise. If you want to find out if we're sailing on the Fantasy this year, click on the video on screen now or watch that one inside of my Patreon, my membership community, where there are loads of early release videos you can catch inside of there too. See you guys real soon. Bye.